striving not for selfish ends, but for the common good. Give us strength to rebuild our lives, leaving forever our selfish, corrupt, and derelict ways. Make us see what we are and what we could be. Open our eyes, our minds, and our hearts to do the things that need to be done and the things that we can do to make this rich and beautiful land a joy and comfort to all our people. We have set for ourselves great and never-ending tasks. Stand by us in our labors and teach us not to weary nor to lose faith, neither to seek rewards beyond, but rather to see in our work the full and to see in it the full expression of ourselves. When the day's toil is ended, teach us to look to tomorrow's labor as a part of our continuing sacrifice. Bring us not to the temptation of luxury, ease, nor privilege, nor the blandishments of power or comfort that corrupt, but make of us a sturdy race, self-reliant, cheerful, and upright. Teach those who lead to act with firmness, but with humility, but with wisdom, but with justice, but with compassion. And teach those who follows the true duties of being men and being members of a community of men. Cleanse us of our anger, our bitterness, and our recriminations of the past. Spare us the doubts and anxieties of the present, and purify us for our sacrifice, so that we may raise a people who will be their own strength today and their own warranty against the future. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, pero sa sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa bibig mo'y buhay. Upang hinirang, tulad ka ng mahitig, sa Lantugi, kita masisingil, sa lahat ng tutok sa simay at sa langit ng babaw. Kahilan ng tulag, awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang isa ng agawat mo'y matumpay na naghihinig. Ang bituin at araw niya, kailan ang kanyang maghihinig. Tuman ang araw ng maraming pagsingka, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hinigaya ng kantay pag-aari, ang namatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Corners of the Philippines, we have come to be with you. Our quest for knowledge, our quest for truth, we bring to you for you to soothe. We sing to you, dear alma mater. We sing to you, we cheer for you. University of Southern Philippines, loyal sons and daughters ever, will remain through thick and thin. Nothing shall this bond ever sever. University, alma mater dear, you will always be Southern to us, the merchant lawyer, teacher, engineer. Make the Southern skies around the beam.
You now take your seats. makiglantugi sa saktong pamaagi,
Makiglantugi sa pagsugod sa kahus ug makiglantugi sa pagkapot o kasulbaran. Welcome to the University of Southern Philippines Foundation Constitutional Law 2 Class Debates, Lantugi 2024.
To formally open this event, ladies and gentlemen, let me call on the one who takes lead in preparing for this event and to where her efforts have reverberated to everyone in the class. Miss Jonna Abarquez, a round of applause please.
To our very supportive Dean in the USPF School of Law, Attorney Peter Canyamo, members of the faculty and staff, our illustrious adjudicators headed by Attorney Neil Balilik, my colleagues from the Constitutional Law class of the one and the only Attorney Russell Fermites, all of us here, a literally warm yet pleasant afternoon. To say the words, I agree, whether it's agreeing to join an organization, or submit to a political authority, or subscribe to a religious faith, may be the basis of every community. But to say, I disagree, I refuse, I may be wrong, these are the words that define our individuality, give us our freedom, enjoin our tolerance, enlarge our perspectives, seize our attention, energize our progress, make our democracies real, and give hope and encourage the oppressed people everywhere. Today, we mark the fourth of the many Lantugi constitutional law debates, an activity which hopes to elevate the level of discourse in the classrooms, in the cafes, at home, and makes us all appreciate the art of disagreement. To listen and understand, to question and disagree, to treat no proposition as sacred and no objection as impious, to be willing to entertain unpopular ideas and cultivate the habits of an open mind. This is what Lantugi is all about. As this year's host and working committee, it is my privilege and honor to welcome you all to this year's Lantugi. Agree or disagree, coffee is free, so welcome.
Okay, thank you so much for that very astonishing opening remarks, John.
Some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, but others make it happen. At this juncture, let me call on Attorney Peter Canyamo, Dean of the USPF School of Law, for his inspirational message. A round of applause, please.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I commend first and foremost your professor who has made this happen for the past 4 years. For the first time it happened, I was inspired by this activity and remain inspired. Even if you do not know, I look forward to every ending of the semester asking my staff, is there any Lantugi going to happen? Yes, because I get to know students, learn the art of debating in a formal way. I know most of you get debates every now and then over a couple of beers and over probably when there will be heartbreaks or whatever. You want to express your opinion, anything. Okay, so this I look forward. Why? You are very privileged as students of this professor because we didn't have this. In other institutions, you get to get involved, you get to be a member of any debating team to be in. But in this Lantugi organized, each one of you has a part. Each one of you, like these people here, researchers, whatever your roles are, those speakers, interpolators, I don't know, am I saying the right terms? Because I am not a debater myself. And I get inspired whenever I see activities like this. So I hope you, every student, also get his own reason to get inspired by this activity. Each one of us gets inspired by anything, by any event. But I hope this one makes it for you in order for you to succeed. This, as I have listened, flows from the idea or flows from the principle that I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend your right of saying it. So I hope and I promise I will sit until the end of the activity in order to get inspired by you and by these people. Thank you. Sit back and relax.
Thank you so much, Dean, for that very inspiring message. Now, this moment, it is very important to highlight the ceremonial passing of the bell, which symbolizes the passing of responsibility. The bell that rang during the previous Lantugi will be heard again today as the speakers battle for victory. May we call on Ms. Duriel Sarausad, the events head of the Lantugi Year 3, and our very own events head for this year's Lantugi Year 4, Mr. Paulo Angelo Ramirez and Ms. Jonna Maria Marquez. Round of applause, please.
Thank you so much for being here, Ms. Juriel, Sir Paulo, and Ms. Jonna for leading us. The ability to balance the interests of all parties comes with a hallmark of a skilled adjudicator. At this point, it is my privilege to introduce the esteemed panel of adjudicators for this event. To start with, he is a certified IT engineer by Philippine National IT Standards Foundation, a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from University of the Philippines, Cebu, a former instructor of University of San Carlos, Mindanao State University, and Iligan Institute of Technology from 2018 to 2023, a former software engineer at Lexmark Research and Development Corporation from 2014 to 2023, and a software product manager at Rise Internet from 2023 to present. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Engineer Paul Bray Owano. A round of applause, please.
Police Service anniversary. A graduate of Master in Public Administration from the Notre Dame University in Cotabato. He's also a proud member and my fraternal brother from Alpha Phi Omega International Philippines Incorporated and a member of the Free and Accepted Masons in the Philippines. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Police Lieutenant Colonel Efren G. Paguyo.
Next is a project volunteer of Kids Life Foundation, Cebu City, Philippines, from 2017 to present. She is a volunteer project facilitator of Bidlisu Foundation, an assistant professor of Southwestern University from May 2018 to present. Graduated Bachelor of Science in Psychology in Southwestern University. She graduated Masters in Early Childhood Education last July 2019. A licensed professional teacher and a candidate for graduation for Master of Arts in Psychology, major in Clinical Psychology in Cebu Institute of Technology University. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Chatti Mondoy Bacolod. A round of applause, please.
Our Chief Adjudicator.
For beneficiality, a strategist of words and a master of persuasion. He weaves arguments with the finesse of point, captivating listeners with every sentence crafted. This debater is currently the Facilities Engineering Manager of Chongwa Hospital, Cebu City. used to be the commercial cluster head of InnoPrime Property Services Incorporated, Cebu City, and also this debater is a licensed mechanical engineer who took his board exam in 2001. Please let us all welcome Engineer Angelito T. Berdon. A round of applause, please. Last but certainly not least is the affirmative debater for practicability. He is a powerhouse of knowledge, combining passion with logic to deliver points that resonate long after the debate concludes. This debater is currently the lead internal auditor of Mabuhay Philsmet Incorporated and used to be the audit associate of SRD and Company CPAs. And also, this debater is a certified public accountant who used to be the academic head, business law and taxation of USPF College of Law and Accountancy. Please help me welcome Mr. Almari Vincent P. Lariza. A round of applause, please. Once again, our debaters for the affirmative side from Section A. Thank you.
To help us gain a meaningful insight on why TikTok should not be banned in the Philippines, we have a set of remarkable speakers to elucidate their stand based on necessity, beneficiality, and practicability. Let's begin, shall we? Our first speaker from the negative side is known as an active catalyst for positive change and is described by his friends as multi-talented and a well-rounded person. He graduated summa cum laude in college and magna cum laude in his master's. In 2015, he was hailed as a national champion for business pitching on Start Business competition organized by the Department of Science and Technology. In 2016, he placed second out of 300 participants Smart Suite National Competition for Innovation and Excellence Awards. In 2017, he also won in the Now You're Talking contest, an impromptu speaking competition. Prior to working as an environmental conservationist, he spent most of his career influences in the academe as a college professor and in the corporate world as human resources labor relations practitioner. Currently, a first-year law student and a class representative of 1L Section B of University of Southern Philippines Foundation School of Law, our first speaker is more than ready to conquer the Lantugi Year 4 constitutional law debates. Our first speaker, Mr. Lloyd Usoya. Buckle up for our second speaker. He graduated magna cum laude with a degree in AB Political Science. He then furthered his education with a master's in Business Administration and Human Resource and Organizational Management. In 1999, he was selected as one of the top 10 Scholar ng Iloilo by ABS-CBN. In 2002, he won as a top 5 Bayer Young Environmental Envoy who was sent to Germany to learn the country's best environmental practices. In 2003, he was awarded as one of the top 10 most outstanding Ilonggos. Previous recipients include Senator Franklin Drilon, Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago, and other illustrious Ilonggo. Aside from his impressive academic achievements, he's also involved in meaningful community activities as a Regional Skills Development Director for Central Visayas for Junior Chamber International. Currently, he is a Territory Manager for Visayas and Mindanao of a global captive financing company of a Fortune 100 and world's largest construction and equipment manufacturer. Friends, Our second speaker, Mr. Ivan Pomaren. Our third speaker graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering at the University of San Carlos and Masters of Science in Engineering Management at the University of San Jose Recoletos. His excellence and impressive competencies paved the way to his key roles in the Philippines and in the Asia-Pacific region. In 2013, he was a product engineer for Ford Motor Australia. In 2016, he was a systems engineer for Continental Automotive Japan. Currently, he is a branch manager of Alpha Insurance and Surety Company. Friends, our third speaker, Mr. Raymond Morales. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, our remarkable speakers from Section B.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daha.
For the rules of the debate, we will adopt a modified Oxford Oregon debate format. The debate is between two sides, the affirmative side and the negative side, with 3 speakers each side. The speakers for the affirmative side shall address the proposition and the necessity, beneficiality, and practicability of the policy, while the negative side speakers shall advance the arguments for non-necessity, non-beneficiality, and non-practicability of the proposition. Each speaker is given 15 minutes to deliver the constructive speech and rebuttal of the previous speaker's arguments. The corresponding speaker from the other side shall be given 2 minutes to interpolate or cross-examine the opposing speaker. Only categorical questions shall be asked. There will be 3 adjudicators who can each ask the debaters 1 categorical question during his or her constructive speech. The 15 minutes allocated for the constructive speech shall be interrupted while the speaker responds to the question of the adjudicators. The same shall resume after the answer is delivered. As such, the 15 minutes maximum time allocated for each speaker shall not be reduced. Please take note that the sound of the bell signifies that the time is up.
For the debate criteria, the debaters shall be judged according to the following. Matter, 40%. Manner, 30%. Method, 30%, for a total of 100%. For matter, it is scored as with a speech as presented. It is everything to do with preparation, arguments, evidence cited, and jurisprudence cited, and analytical skills. For manner, it is judged from a purely public speaking perspective. How did the debater actually deliver the speech? Was the thought correct? The pace, the pauses, the eye contact, and confidence. For method, the speaker shall be judged by his interpolation. This refers to the ability to examine the opposing debater. It pertains to the success of the debater in logically refuting the other side's arguments. The team with the highest score from each judge shall be declared the winner. The speaker who gets the highest average score in the manner will be awarded as the best speaker. The speaker who gets the highest average score in method will be awarded as the best interpolator. And in case there is a tie, the chief adjudicator shall rule.
The debate around banning TikTok has been a significant topic of discussion globally, with concerns centered primarily on data privacy, national security, and the influence of foreign governments.
And for this year's proposition, let it be resolved that TikTok should be banned in all devices in the Philippines. And to argue the affirmative side, for the necessity, may we call on Mr. Edward D. Caratalo.
Hello. Good evening. Good afternoon. Sorry. Hello. Better. To our adjudicators, law professors, classmates, with special mention, of course, to our adversaries this afternoon, Engineer Raymond Morales, and of course, my JCI Metro Cebu Uptown brother, Mr. Ivan Pumaran, MBA. To our guests, and to those not mentioned, a pleasant afternoon. I am here before you today to try and paint you a picture of what this world has become since we opened our doors to the social media application which we will hide under the name of TikTok, and why it is not only necessary, but rather imperative that we rid our country of such harmful tool. Ladies and gentlemen, the Philippine Star has reported in their articles that less than 20% of Filipinos are off the grid. This means that 8 out of 10 of us have access to the internet. And out of all the hours in a day, we spend an average of close to 9 hours, which is more than half of our time awake just looking at our screens. A third of those 9 hours we spend on social media. Studies also show that we watch an average of, take note, 127 TikTok videos a day. Burning more than around 2 hours of our daily lives, absorbing content like it was a daily routine. Well, if we sum it all up, most of us are on TikTok 2 hours a day, 14 hours a week, 56 hours a month, 672 long hours a year of pure TikTok exposure. Or is it rather TikTok indoctrination? Recent data provided by Spiralytics show that there are 49.09 million active TikTok users in the Philippines. So, we can only imagine close to 50 million people on TikTok, 672 hours a year. Like fish in the sea, we are hooked. You know what other industry calls their customers as users? Any guess? Illegal drugs. On December last year, TeamAsia.com attempted to explain why TikTok is preferred over other social media applications. Well, according to them, TikTok's appeal is through its bite-sized videos that resonate through a wide range of audiences. This means that it is more palatable because of its format, which takes advantage of our short attention span and jams us with several videos that have various contents and subject matter. This is akin to jacking up several things on a blender and blending them all up until we're left with a vomit-induced result. Back when TikTok was still building up its user base, the app lured people into joining through different viral challenges. One of which is, I don't know if you remember, the My Heart Went Oops challenge, where women appear fully clothed at first, and when the song reaches the part when it says oops, they transition into wearing something rather sensual. I'm sure you remember these challenges, but how about the wipe it down challenge? It is where users post video of them dressed in decent clothes while wiping a glass mirror. Then, when the song reaches the words wipe it down, they once again transition into wearing something rather sensual. Ladies and gentlemen, these challenges have a tendency of becoming a competition towards the so-called users, where one up of the other, competing for likes as if these likes or views were signs of affirmation. The person with the most views and likes would probably just cash in. It's all about the money. But at the end of the day, it's the innocence of a child that is lost in all these liberated forms of tomfoolery, so to speak. Well, yes, I think we all know it. Even minors have access to this application. All those unfiltered type of content ranging from sexually inappropriate, violent content, drug use, and other topics that are too age inappropriate. These are just at the palm of their hands. Who knows? We may even be unaware that they are already being targeted by sexual predators lurking in the app. All this time, we may have been led to believe that what we are doing is merely entertaining our children. So that's why we give them access to the world through the app. But what we really are doing is giving the world access to our children. To any good parent, that alone sends a chilling effect and should be reason enough why it is necessary that we ban this app.
Mr. Speaker, you see, the content offered by TikTok is also offered by other social media sites and applications, right? But why specifically target TikTok?
Thank you for that question. Thank you for that question, Attorney. Well, I would be, if I were to finish my speech, I would arrive at that question. But, to give you an idea, I am merely just, one of our points is just the content that is being circulated around TikTok is child inappropriate. That's our minor point. But if I finish my speech, I will probably arrive at our major point, if it would be agreeable, Attorney. Okay. Thank you, Attorney. Okay. Back to what I was saying. Amnesty International, an international organization committed in upholding human rights in the international arena, concluded that the youth who watch mental health related content on TikTok are quickly being drawn into a rabbit hole of harmful and potentially harmful content. These include videos that romanticize and encourage depression, self-harm, and even suicide. A researcher of Amnesty International named Lisa Dittmer added further that the platform's algorithmic content recommender system exposes children and young adults, yes, even young adults with pre-existing mental health challenges, to serious risks of harm. But it gets worse. Out of all the social media platforms that dominate the world in terms of the number of users and engagement, TikTok is owned by ByteDance, which is a Chinese company, is the only one that is bound by Chinese state surveillance laws, specifically Chapter 2, Article 14 of the People's Republic of China National Intelligence Law of 2017, which obligates them to collaborate with state intelligence operations, effectively co-opting private entities into extensions of the government's surveillance network. That was my answer to your question, Attorney. If one living soul is already a good source of intelligence or counterintelligence for China's surveillance network, what more if the source is a company that has access to millions of data worldwide? If that's not compelling enough, wait till you hear that ByteDance is not just a mere tech company, but it is also a part of China's vast military machinery. In fact, in 2018, ByteDance established the Beijing Academy of Artificial Intelligence, which develops AI technology both for civilian and military applications. Coincidentally, during the same year, TikTok was also named as the most downloaded app in the United States, one of China's most sought-out rival. Ladies and gentlemen, the very company who owns and operates TikTok is bound by their state law to gather intelligence for China's surveillance network. And not only that, they are also the state's partner in the development of their military technology and capability. This is a smoking gun of this somewhat treasury. These are things we should have known about before we provided them with our information. All this took place right under our noses, while some of our countrymen are distracted by the free entertainment they get from such insidious application. But knowing what we know now, is it really free? Or were our data privacy the price of admission all along? Well, friends, ByteDance, if I haven't stressed this well enough, is partly owned by the Chinese government, who is entitled to its golden share from such company through its Chinese unit, Douyin Information Service. China, as I previously established, is very well in possession of our sensitive information gathered through TikTok. It is no secret that we have been clashing with the Chinese government for their false and unfounded claims in our very own territory. In fact, probably, maybe as we speak,
Mr. Adjudicator,
Yes.
you mentioned a while ago that intelligence from Chinese government being the TikTok was being used by Chinese intelligence.
Yes.
How did you arrive in that conclusion that China intelligence using the TikTok application?
Thank you for that question, sir. Well, we arrived at that conclusion because if you recall, based on our research, all companies, all Chinese companies, and even Chinese citizens are bound by their state law, which is the PRC National Intelligence Law 2017. So all surveillance, all their surveillance needs, or all the information that they need, they get from their citizens, which includes TikTok and ByteDance.
Mr. Speaker, I have a question. Can you
Yes, sir.
cite a specific piece of data that might be used that will threaten our national security?
Well, based on our research also, sir, the specific data that the Chinese could use, probably through their collection of data using the app, which is TikTok, would be the number of, the actual number of citizens that we have through the app, which also includes the number of active the demographic of who is active in duty or who are capable in being drafted into conscriptancy or those who can be recruited to fight for our country. With that information, they can always do their counterintelligence, and they can provide the necessary number of military force that they will use against such threat to them. Yes, sir. Are there any other questions? Thank you. If I may proceed, I will arrive at the almost last. If I can just locate where I was, sorry. Okay. Well, I was saying that, in fact, as we speak, they are still there in our exclusive economic zone, exploiting our natural resources and claiming the islands they're in as part of their ridiculous 9 or is it now 10 or 11 dash line? Well, they can draw all the lines they want for all we care, but we have an arbitral ruling that affirms our claim versus the People's Republic of China. Well, the world is on our side, but yet, according to them, we are the ones trespassing. Imagine being told by your neighbor that you need to vacate a portion of your lawn, because they will be extending their perimeter fence. The audacity. If they are this hostile towards us, what's stopping them from committing more atrocities with the information they possess? Keeping TikTok in our territory possess little to no advantage for us Filipinos. But such is pregnant with reasons for us to rid the country of this surveillance tool. Well, before I end, allow me to reiterate once again that the necessity of banning TikTok.
Speaker, as a speaker of necessity, so can you identify government agencies who already impose the TikTok ban and why, if it is necessary to be applied also in private entities?
In the Philippines?
Yes,
in the Philippines?
Arena. Are there already government agency who already imposed the TikTok banning? And as a necessity speaker, is it still necessary to be applied in other agencies?
Well, based on the research that we have, here in the Philippines, there's still no ban in the use of such app.
How about in AFP and PNP?
Our research does not cover that, but I would assume probably maybe.
So you lack further research on that matter?
Yes, I guess. Thank you for that one. So let me just wrap up just one more minute. Oh, that's the time I have left. Anyway, before I end, allow me to reiterate that the necessity of banning TikTok goes way beyond the confines of arguing whether or not it is an encroachment of one's freedom of expression. Oh, we are way past that. One just only needs to open his eyes and take cognizance of current events involving the Chinese oppression of Filipinos in our very own territory. The question becomes imminent. Do we continue to stick with the enemy? Do we allow them to clandestinely access our vital information? Are we so gullible that we allow our enemy to use our own information sources against us? After this day ends, I hope our national heroes don't turn on their graves and regret they ever fought for the Philippines. Thank you.
Mr. Yusnoy, you have 2 minutes to cross-examine Mr. Karata.
Hello.
Hello. Maayong hapon, Mr. Speaker. Would you, just yes or no, would you agree with me that in application, including TikTok application, the cost of the cause is always the cost of the thing cost? Your Honor, I'll take it as a no. Your Honor, would you agree with me that the value of the value would lose its value when the value is not valued? Moving forward, Mr. Speaker, would you agree with me that in a certain application, you have to weigh first the correlation between the cost and, of course, the value? That the main existence or the cost of the application of TikTok primarily began as an entertainment platform that later metamorphosed to informational platform, which gives more weight and value to Filipino citizens.
Thank you for your statement,
But
where's
not,
my answer?
but not a threat to national security, right?
Excuse me?
Again, Mr. Speaker, is it your contention, that the main cause of the existence of the application of TikTok is for entertainment purposes that metamorphosed to informational platform that gives more weight to Filipino citizen not on the cost of national security that you are arguing right now? Mr. Speaker, I think we have to move forward. Mr. Speaker, you made mention earlier that according to Spiralytics, 49.09 millions of Filipino users are there in the Philippines, right?
Yes.
Are you not aware that at the end of the line of such facts cited by Spiralytics, they said it at least once a month? Lack of research, Mr. Speaker. Moving forward, you talk about the Wipe It Down challenge that happened way back in pandemic in 2020, right?
Yes.
Yes. Are you aware of the Japanese principle called Kaizen? No, because every application has the right to improve your applications for improvement, and that's why right now TikTok has a censorship protocol to click a particular matter if it's not appropriate for minors. And talking about depression, about social media literacy, it is the responsibility of parents to teach social media literacy and not the TikTok application. And threat to national security is still an assumption, and there's no proof yet that it has to be banned on reasons of national security. No questions, Mr. Speaker.
Well, thank you for your statement.
That's it. Wala to. Dili mo tingog. Ano to mo tingog?
So, to argue the negative side, may we call on Mr. Lloyd to answer?
Social justice is neither communism, nor despotism, nor atomism, nor anarchy. But it is the humanization of laws.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, Your Honor.
please address foremost whether is this an issue of national security, free speech issue, or simply legislative prerogative, which is plenary under the Constitution? Address that.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. It is very clear that this year's proposition is a battle between safety and freedom, and later on I will argue that in my speech. Moving forward in my argument, Mr. Speaker, social justice is neither communism, nor despotism, nor anarchy, nor activism, because it is the humanization of laws and equalization of social and economic forces by the state, so that justice in its rational and objectively secular conception may at least be approximated. Hence, the very spirit of this debate. To our adjudicators, Attorney Neil Aaron C. Balili, Ms. Charity Mondoy Bacolod, to the best speakers of Lantugi all throughout the years, Engineer Paul Bray Uwano of Lantugi Year 1, Major Ruel Kenneth S. Umadhay of Lantugi Year 2, Police Lieutenant Colonel Ephraim Gaayon Paguyon of Lantugi Year 3, Your Honors, friends, my co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The negative bench submits that it is not necessary to ban TikTok in the Philippines in all devices for several grounds that will be elucidated and even argued in the speech. Furthermore, this House believes that there are flaws in the status quo on TikTok. But such flaws can be addressed and can be treated by appropriate and well-examined regulation and not merely banning it, because it defeats the very heart of social justice and even encroachment of our freedom of expression as guaranteed in Section 4, Article 3 Bill of Rights of the 1987 Constitution. An open source information, Your Honors, mortifies that as of the first quarter of this year, 2024, Spiralytics, which you mentioned earlier, Mr. Speaker, says that there's 41% of the total population of the Philippines visits TikTok at least a month. Not to mention the impressive...
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Mr. Your Honor.
You mentioned a while ago the freedom of expression. Are there any limitations imposing the freedom of expression?
Your Honors, any other rights guaranteed in our constitutions are not absolute, but hence it has to be subjected to different. And later on my third paragraph of my speech, I will elucidate such constraints. Moving forward, Your Honor, the impressive number of 49.9 million users of TikTok in the Philippines. Because true enough, Your Honors, that TikTok primarily began as an entertainment platform and its impact extends far beyond its initial purpose. Because TikTok influences various aspects of online culture, including commerce and even information, education, and communication campaign. This means, Your Honor, that banning, or shall we say, the extinguishment of TikTok, which the affirmative side agrees, would tantamount to one, loss of livelihood and deprivation of our freedom of expression. Moving forward, loss of livelihood. Loss of livelihood for entrepreneurs, including those workers employed by them, resellers, distributors, brand ambassadors, and whatnot, who are not privileged enough to have the mainstream platform for economic empowerment. And worst, such loss would paralyze a fleet of delivery riders from logistics, courier industry. And these workers, these very people, Your Honors, in their darkest forest, found light to live a life brought by the opportunities from TikTok. Your Honors, banning the TikTok in all devices in the Philippines amounts to the government criminalizing specific businesses, including small ones, without the evidence of wrongdoing.
It's wrong.
Council, good afternoon. You've mentioned that there will be a loss of jobs, not because of TikTok, but I want to ask, how about other social media? Why not those other businesses switch to other social media? Would it be that too much? I think it, not very practical, but yeah, that's my question. Why not switch to other social media?
Your Honors, thank you so much for that question. TikTok right now is an application. It's part of the social media platforms that we have right now in the Philippines. But among all the platforms, it is only the TikTok application acts similar to our same with our different marketplaces or digital platforms like Lazada and even in Shopee. So when we transfer to another different platform, there's no any alternative platform similar to TikTok who does perform the same with Shopee and other leading applications in terms of commerce, Your Honors.
Right, but when it comes to security, TikTok doesn't have that, especially when it comes to return of products. So why give emphasis more on TikTok?
Your Honors, thank you so much. But not just TikTok, but all any other digital platforms for commerce do not guarantee a return of service or return of products. Because then again, that's a different discussion of the debate, which is outside of the proposition of this topic. Moving forward, Your Honors, on the second argument in terms of deprivation of freedom of expression, in the case of Archdiocese of Bacolod v. Comelec, GR number 205728 states that the right to think is the beginning of freedom, and speech is the beginning of thought. Furthermore, in Chavez v. Gonzalez, GR number 168338 states that the constitutional protection afforded free speech also extends to publication and even speeches that are entertaining as well as instructive and even informative. Your Honors, everyone has the right, the freedom to express in any platforms. But such, and the same with any other guaranteed rights, are not absolute. Hence, the police power of the state comes in when such freedom is being abused, but subject to tests. Only when it is to be noted that only when the challenged act overcome the clear and present danger rule will pass the constitutional muster. But in this case of TikTok, it has metamorphosed from an entertainment platform to informational platform which resembles a search engine and a publisher that clearly passed the required test. Your Honors, the banning of TikTok is clearly a deprivation of our freedom of expression. In other words, Your Honors, restraint, constraint, and censorship creates the perfect breeding ground for authoritarianism. Your Honors, it is clear that this year's proposition is a battle between safety and security. It's a battle between safety and freedom. But this House firmly believes and submits that it is not necessary to ban TikTok basing on discourse on national security and even problems on data privacy. Because banning TikTok will not solve the issues and the problem on national security and even the influence of foreigners or even the influence of any other people other than the Filipino citizens, right? In a publication published by Arizona State University, dated April 25, 2024, that's very recent, the U.S. Representative Raja, the co-sponsor of House bill on banning TikTok on U.S., invoke a particular case as a successful precedent. This particular app is a gay dating app called Grindr, and he used that as a successful precedent for forcing ByteDance to divest TikTok. Then again, the argument here in the U.S. Congress is not about banning for national security, but it's more in accordance with the say or ban law. Moving forward, in 2020, the owner of the Grindr that happened to be a Chinese company sold such application to U.S. company, following the safety and security protocols seen with the issues facing and being pressed to TikTok right now. And surprisingly, in 2023, even though the Grindr is no longer owned by a Chinese company, but now a U.S. company, a French Catholic group purchased a location and usage data from Grindr to track and locate LGBTQIA+ priests. Now, what does this mean, Your Honors? That the threat posed by TikTok has also been posed to any other social media platforms, even those older than TikTok, like Facebook. So what's the nature of singling out TikTok on this very matter? In the Philippines, Your Honors, ladies and gentlemen, just as last month a press release was issued by the Department of Information and Communication Technology, or DICT, and their stand is no to TikTok banning, but yes to imposition of regulation. Furthermore, the DICT Undersecretary, Mr. Jeffrey Ian D. said that banning is a maximum penalty as part of the regulation and should not single out a particular application, even the TikTok. And unfortunately, as of this current debate, there's no law yet regulating the social media platforms in the Philippines, just like in US and even in Europe. Arguing threats on national security and problems on data privacy, Your Honors, protecting the Filipino people cannot be accomplished by banning a single application. Because to truly protect the Filipino people is the need for lawmakers to enact broad and far-reaching regulations at the same time upholding social justice without compromising the democratic brick and fabric of our society. Ladies and gentlemen, TikTok should not be banned. Thank you.
Mr. Carataw, you have 2 minutes to interpolate question for Mr. Yosoy.
Mr. Yusaya, hello.
Hi.
I will ask a few questions.
Sure.
I'll let you speak. Are you familiar with, you mentioned earlier that if we ban TikTok, there will be a loss of livelihood, if you recall.
Correct, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. How about, were you familiar with Lazada or Shopee or other shopping apps?
Yes, of course, Mr. Speaker. Well, in fact, I bought my suit from that application.
So,
Speakers, please refrain from making extraneous matters.
sorry.
This is a formal competition, not showtime.
Now, given that you mentioned earlier that if we ban TikTok, then we would also be depriving the delivery riders of their livelihood. What does it not? Do they have not other delivery apps that they can use for them to earn their living?
Speaker, the question here is whether the issue here is not because there are a lot of applications where they can use when the TikTok is banned. But the question is, there are a lot of people or also workers that might be affected if you ban the TikTok because there are a lot of delivery riders.
Understood. However, I would like to ask again, who owns TikTok?
The owner of TikTok, Your Honor, is ByteDance. It is a Chinese company.
Understood. Thank you.
But then again, even if a Chinese company, the board members are Americans, and that does not prove that there's a threat of national security. Even the Philippines does not say a stand if China is a friend or a foe. Thank you.
No further questions. No.
To argue the affirmative side for the beneficiality, may we call on Mr. Angelito Berdon.
To our esteemed Dean, Attorney Peter Kanyang, to the esteemed adjudicators and our fellow students, new students, good afternoon. I'm here to discuss, to try to prove the beneficiality of banning TikTok. I will summarize my arguments into this. We are convinced that banning TikTok from all devices will improve cybersecurity and plug our bandwidths in the IT infrastructure, clear us away from China's reach, stealing classified and vital information from both at the individual users and the national level. 4, speed up our internet system. I'm not an IT guy, but I know this is one benefit we can get from banning TikTok. We clean our digital highways from TikTok and reduce the risk of our kids' exposure to potentially obscene and pornographic contents, as my colleague here have earlier expounded. Now, in the old times, our history books taught us that wars were fought with horses and swords, bows and arrows, with brute force, where the strongest survived and the law of the jungle rules. When armies trained their bodies and mind to withstand the horrors of war, and generals would lead with their own physical strengths and superior minds to employ all tactics and strategies there is to win and grab the wealth of the losing armies. Then we evolved and started manufacturing weapons out of metal and explosive mixtures of potassium nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal. We fought in the battlefields with guns, pellets, and powder, killed enemies with our guns and bayonets. Still, we evolved further and started navigating engine-powered ships, flew airplanes, killing enemies with cannons and bigger rapid-firing guns. Then the modern era came, and we now have nuclear weapons, impressive weapons of mass destruction. We now fly airplanes at supersonic speeds, equipped with high-accuracy guns and bomb-dropping mechanisms. Today, we call ourselves to be in the digital age, compounding our abilities to wage war. In the old days,
War is fought in the battlefield. Today, it could very well be fought in both the digital arena and in the physical battlegrounds, where the army with the most superior technology would have the best chance of winning. The Philippines is in conflict with China. We all know that. News of our naval ships getting harassed by Chinese military vessels have been showing on our televisions lately, in social media and other information channels. We are not Troy. I don't know if you remember Troy. Nor can we categorically declare that we are at war with China. However, we know for a fact that we are in conflict with China in the Spratly Islands. With this in mind, we sure all can learn from what happened in the Battle of Troy. According to Virgil, the Roman epic poet, the Greeks defeated the Trojans by leaving behind a large wooden horse and pretended to sail for home. Unbeknown to the Trojans, the wooden horse was filled with Greek warriors who later sacked Troy after the Trojans brought the horse inside the city walls. Although China does not need the same horse as the Greeks had, nor do they need to sail away from us, because by sheer military number and power, we are at a losing end. Our only hope is in our allies, in the capability to bond together to vanquish common enemies, as we did in the past.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
at this point, there is no information, exact information for that matter, at least on our part, no, from the Philippines, as to what is the breadth and reach of the information gathering capability of TikTok. Now, we are facing uncertainty. Do you think that would satisfy the requirement of legitimate state interest to for the Philippines to ban by law applications under control of China? Yes or no?
Yes.
Did you understand the question?
I'm sorry, actually.
Okay. At this point, there is no exact information, at least from us, the Philippines, as to the breadth and reach of the capacity, the information gathering capability of TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you think that we are facing uncertainty, a huge uncertainty, what would satisfy the requirement of legitimate state interest for the Philippines to ban by law applications under the control of foreign adversaries?
I believe so, Attorney.
Why
We
so?
are arguing on the ground of compelling state interest. There is actually great risk as we allow TikTok playing in our digital devices. If you can allow me to continue. In recent years, the People's Republic of China has increased its efforts to collect foreign data through both legal and illegal channels. The Chinese Communist Party's focus on data acquisition supports the goals outlined in the PRC's Made in China 2025 plan, as well as the Digital Silk Road and the military-civil fusion efforts, all of which endeavor to make the PRC the leading global technological superpower by 2049. The PRC has indicated both directly and through its actions that data, and I would like to emphasize this, data is a high-value resource for the next phase of their economic growth. If oil is the core resource in the era of industrial economy, then data is the most important strategic resource in the era of digital economy. PRC National Information Center, March 10, 2010. This is actually an excerpt from the article by the U.S. Homeland Security entitled Data Security Business Advisor, Risks and Considerations for Business Using Data Services and Equipment from Firms Linked to the People's Republic of China. An obvious question would be, of all nations, why Philippines? Why should we worry about China taking away all informations we have, what's with us? I believe the answer lies in the same question. Why the Spaniards, why the Americans colonized us? Even Japan tried to colonize us. I think and I believe the Philippines really matter. And China actually is showing that. Look at what's happening in Spratlys, what China is doing now. We matter, the Philippines matter to the world. China is obviously, that's our proposition, China is obviously launching its own warfare, digital. Intent on global dominion, they would use whatever means necessary there is to further that objective. They're rising in power, aggressive in their efforts. In fact, they're now toe-to-toe with the US. TikTok is a known Chinese video sharing social media platform with known connection with the CCP. This app, gaining popularity in most countries, including the Philippines, is well in line with China's Made in China 2025 plan. The Philippines is trying to catch up with the digital age, starting to do government transactions via the internet. Our teens are using it and are very fond of it. Leaving TikTok free reign in our gadgets exposes us to the tactics that China is doing. They could mine data and use it at their own advantage. It is time we wake up from our slumber, wake up from the complacency, and start taking the matter seriously. Troy was a strong city, and yet they brought in a wooden horse that would prove to be their demise. The Philippines have allowed the horse.
Speaker, may I ask if you have additional data, information, or evidence that the Chinese has mined information using the TikTok application?
It's the same document, actually, sir. And I can speak actually from personal experience on this. I think China is doing it, I believe. I'm with Cho actually, and we built a motorized car parking lots. And China is actually programming the system online. So there is nothing stopping China from doing it in other platforms. Who can tell China has already accumulated government information collated from individual users and even from our government employees themselves through the use of the app? China could be using TikTok as a Trojan horse to gain access in our back doors and suck us from whatever we have in our stores. It is a legitimate concern with a legitimate threat that should be given legitimate efforts to address. The children are our hope. They will form the future of the country. Our laws admit to the special need to protect our children. One of the areas that our laws are trying to protect them from is the exposure to contents not suitable for young minds. According to the Piagetian theory, a child is an active seeker of information and new experiences. Children adapt to their environment by assimilating new information, by accommodating existing frameworks to new information. To reinforce this claim, Charles Darwin's theory states that children are passive recipients of environmental influence. They actively shape, control, and direct the course of their own development. Accordingly, since the target audience of this app is the youth, there should be interference from the state as parents patria of its people. Very good laws we have, yet somehow we lack the mechanism to fully implement them. We all want what is good for the country. The Stoics would tell us that virtue alone is good, vice alone evil, and that all else is absolutely indifferent. We cannot have our children, future of our country, and future leaders gets exposed to possible misinformation. One of the reasons these youth is the formative years, and getting exposed to contents in the app are leading towards obscenity and pornography. Let's clean our digital systems. TikTok is one app that area that could hinder improvements in that arena. Let's improve our digital highways. Take out the trash that are unnecessarily using the bandwidths that could have better serve more useful services of the government. In conclusion, with the above premises in mind, the only logical conclusion would be that TikTok should be banned to ensure benefits in cybersecurity and unclogging our bandwidths, clearing us away from China's reach in its digital warfare, cleaning our digital highways from potentially obscene and pornographic contents, lowering the risk of exposures of our kids to the same, and improving internet speed in the process. That's Your Honor's statement.
Mr. Kumar, you have 2 minutes to cross-examine.
Mr. Speaker, good afternoon. Mr. Speaker, have you browsed through the data from the Bureau of Treasury as to how much is the national budget deficit in the Philippines?
No.
Thank you for the admission. Are you aware that currently, from January to February, our budget deficit is around 77 billion pesos?
No.
Are you also of the idea that in order for us to generate more income is to allow other means of economic activity in order to generate income for the government?
No.
You do not agree with that?
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that TikTok is being used for harvesting information by the Chinese government, correct?
Yes.
Is there specific evidence or proof or case of that assumption?
I speak from experience.
We are
Sure.
asking for a specific case or evidence, not on personal opinion.
That article that I cited earlier from the U.S. Homeland Security.
Is there evidence that China has gathered data from the Philippines using TikTok? Is there any evidence presented in media or any of our institutions telling us that China has gathered information from TikTok?
Obviously, no.
There is none. Thank you for the admission. You also mentioned earlier that pornography is happening in TikTok. Are you also aware that pornography is happening in other social media platforms?
Yeah, TikTok is making it worse.
If it's happening in other social media platforms, even if TikTok does it, as you've claimed, worse, is it also right that we ban all social media platforms simply because they also commit pornography?
We can start with TikTok, later the others.
To argue the negative side, may we call on Mr. Ivan Pumare.
Respected Board of Adjudicators, distinguished guests, worthy opponents, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Today I stand before you to advocate for TikTok, a social media platform that has revolutionized digital engagement, creativity, and information dissemination. Despite the misgivings of the affirmative side, the truth is TikTok has proven to be an invaluable tool for economic opportunities, education, and social connection. The opposing side has mentioned that banning TikTok and all devices in the Philippines is due to fear of personal data breach, national security concerns, and influence of foreign governments. I must emphasize that to this day, there is scant evidence on personal data and national security breach in the Philippines, nor is there any apparent case of foreign government interference in our elections and policy-making process perpetrated through TikTok. We in the negative side believe that allowing TikTok to continue sans a certain level of regulations. Now, let us delve into the multifaceted benefits of TikTok and understand why it is a platform worth celebrating. First, let's look into the economic aspect. I must say, we should not kill the goose that lays the golden egg. On its press release on April 1, 2024, the Bureau of Treasury mentioned that the Philippines' year-to-date budget deficit is 77 billion pesos. They mentioned that for this year, the government has collected 645.8 billion pesos in revenue. However, national expenditure reached 722.5 billion pesos, leaving the country looking for 77 billion pesos to finance its expenditures. Against this backdrop, there is a dire need to look for other sources of revenue or means to boost economic activities to generate income for the government and arrest the ballooning deficit. According to the International Trade Administration of the Department of Commerce of the United States of America, in 2021, the Philippines e-commerce market sales reached $17 billion or almost 1 trillion pesos. This is estimated to reach $24 billion or 1.4 trillion pesos through 2025 from various e-commerce and social media platforms, including TikTok. We have to seize the opportunity of this economic boom through social media, including TikTok. If you would recall, the Bureau of Internal Revenue had issued several memorandum circulars telling us that there should be an aggressive way to generate income from online sellers, and one of them is TikTok. TikTok has been a great platform for creators. It provides an unprecedented opportunity for creators to monetize their content through brand partnerships, sponsored content, and other monetization opportunities. Individuals can turn their creativity into a viable source of income. This economic model has given rise to a new class of digital entrepreneurs. For small businesses, they use TikTok for marketing, reaching a global audience without the need of significant advertising budgets. Viral trends and user-generated content can lead to substantial business growth. The rise of TikTok has also created jobs in digital marketing, content creation, and social media management. The demand for skilled professionals to manage and produce content for TikTok is increasing, contributing to the digital economy. The job opportunities created by TikTok and other social media platforms has wide implications for our country. Last June 6, 2024, just 2 days ago, the Philippine Statistics Authority released a report that as of April 2024, the unemployment rate in our country is 4%, or that is around 2.04 million jobless Filipinos. If we ban TikTok, and there are people working for that, and the related companies or industries that need TikTok for their business, we will be adding more people in the unemployment segment, and that will cause more strain on our economy. But allowing TikTok to continue to operate, but with regulation, will yield economic benefits for the Filipino people. We should regulate and protect the goose that lays the golden egg. If we perceive any risk or harms, we should regulate or to mitigate them, just like what we did with cigarettes and liquors.
Good afternoon. You've mentioned about regulation. May I know who regulates TikTok? And to follow up that question, if in case there are violations that they will commit, who will punish TikTok?
TikTok actually has an office in the Philippines. So if there will be any violation of our laws, then we would be able to enforce our existing laws against TikTok. I'm sorry for the other question.
Who punishes them if there will be violations?
Well, we will be able to enforce our data privacy laws because we have one, and we have also cybercrime laws in place in the Philippines.
Mr. Speaker, we may not be in a state of actual armed conflict with China, but to borrow the words of Ambassador Bensurto, the Philippines is in a heightened state of diplomatic misunderstanding with China. Now, TikTok is like a big brother, as I understood it to be. It's like a big brother up there, prying into our daily private lives in a manner and magnitude that I know that you yourself could not even approximate. Now, given these premises, why is banning TikTok not a sound national security policy?
As of the moment, there is no compelling reason to ban TikTok. If our theory is it's being used to monitor us, let us also look into the aspect wherein we can actually leverage TikTok in order to spread information regarding national security, to educate our people and inspire nationalism and patriotism. Now, to continue with my...
Excuse me, sorry. So you mentioned that we can even use TikTok to advance our own national security, but just a few weeks ago, I ran across a news item wherein a certain reporter was posting videos on TikTok about the West Philippine Sea, and the audios for his videos were muted. What do you think about that?
Well, regarding that, actually, based on some news articles that I have read, the government can also send information to TikTok to raise some of their concerns, so that some of the issues that would crop up there can also be addressed by TikTok itself.
Speaker, another question. So you have mentioned earlier that TikTok videos is beneficial to the online sellers, right? So it leverage our economy. So do you know how long is the duration of the TikTok video? It's up how many minutes?
Up to a minute, I believe.
30 minutes. How about in Facebook?
For Facebook, it could be longer.
Yes, up to 4 hours. So do you think that TikTok videos is more beneficial than Facebook videos?
Actually, because the content of the TikTok videos are actually targeted to a certain audience. I must say that one social media platform is not created equal with another social media platform. They have specific target market, and this kind of platform caters to the needs and requirements, particularly also of the demographic that is signed up to that platform.
Is it more beneficial if we target more audiences compared to specific group of audiences?
I'm sorry, sir?
If we are just focused on a single or limited number of audiences, so does it become helpful in our economy, or is it better if we have large audiences?
Well, the reason why we have multiple social media platforms because we also give people the opportunity to choose which platform suits them. Apparently for TikTok, they have also a niche market that they cater to. So for that particular market, they will be more effective to boost the economic activities and sales for some businesses. Now to continue with my speech, if we perceive any harm or risk, we should regulate it to mitigate the risk and harms, just like what we did to cigarettes and liquors and sweetened beverages and e-cigarettes. We are all aware that these products will have negative impact to people's health, but we did not ban them in our country. Instead, we regulated them by imposing higher taxes called sin tax, and we earmarked the revenues to support our public health program. So these are just among the economic benefits that we can get from having TikTok to operate sans regulations by the government. Second, TikTok has wide-ranging benefits in areas of public health and education, as well as in social and political dimensions. The proponents of banning TikTok in all devices in the Philippines harp that it is addictive and it has negative effects of using the platform. We beg to disagree, and I believe that they are hugely mistaken. According to a global study, TikTok users globally use the app for 6 days and 16 hours in a year. If we compute that, that is barely 2% of a person's life in a year. It is a minuscule time spent on this platform. Now, even for the sake of argument, since the Philippines is considered as the social media capital of the world, we increase that by 2 and we make it 12 days. That is still just 3% of a person's life in a year. On the public health dimension, in an article published in the Harvard Public Health website, a doctor shared that the true value of TikTok is its immense potential public health impact. Used appropriately, it is one of the most powerful tools we have for scaling information and fighting misinformation. A lot of people, especially younger ones, don't want to read an article or even watch a documentary. They wanted these bite-sized pieces of information that educated, entertained, and inspired them. Our collective experience during the COVID-19 pandemic is very instructive. We were trapped in our homes, while others were trapped in quarantine centers, seriously affecting our mental health. TikTok was used by many to deal with the traumatizing effect of the COVID-19 pandemic to their mental health. It provided a platform for many who might otherwise have been silent during the pandemic. It was used to tell stories and creatively engage the platform to be a space for coping during one of the most unprecedented traumas facing communities around the globe. From sharing their mundane daily tasks to expressing their deepest fears about being sick and alone, these young adults offered a window into the pandemic that was hard to see in mainstream media. TikTok, along with other social media platforms, was very helpful for mental health. And I must say, it was a boon for everyone's mental health at that time. On the education side, TikTok has become a hub for educational content, making learning accessible and enjoyable. Short, engaging videos on a wide range of topics, from science experiments to historical facts, are readily available. TikTok in the Philippines in particular had TikTok U and TikTok Eskwela, which serve for educational and instructive contents. Together, these two campaigns have generated billions of video views and hundreds of thousands of educational posts on TikTok. They have also partnered with educational creators or edu creators, which fill the platform with interesting and relevant instructive content. By freely sharing their professional knowledge and experiences through their TikTok videos, these edu creators help gain new information, learn new skills, and discover creative inspiration. TikTok has also partnered with DOST and GMA in order that they will be able to create more relevant and interesting content for the Filipinos. Now let us look into the social dimensions of TikTok. TikTok fosters communities because its algorithm promotes content based on user interests, fostering rich communities and allowing people with shared interests to connect. The platform also facilitates cultural exchange by allowing users to share their traditions, languages, and lifestyles. This global interaction promotes understanding and tolerance, breaking down cultural barriers and fostering a more inclusive world. On the side of the government, our Department of Tourism has actually leveraged TikTok when the COVID-19 pandemic has set out. The Department of Tourism actually ran 2 campaigns through TikTok in order to entice foreigners to visit the Philippines, thus promoting our tourism. Right now, the Department of Trade and Industry is also in talks with TikTok for a collaboration so that they will be able to create a content academy in order to spur our digital penetration in this country. As I have mentioned earlier in the question, TikTok can be leveraged by the government in creating and disseminating contents about our history, our culture, and relevant national issues to educate our people and inspire nationalism and patriotism. So how can 6 days or even 12 days be bad if it can be used actually for something good? Again, when used appropriately, the perceived downside is heavily outweighed by the powerful benefits and incredible promise for expanding access and education. On the third side, or the last benefit, it's on the legal aspect. By allowing regulation instead of banning, we pursue a policy that benefits our people and our country in the long term. We must adopt policies that is least intrusive to protect the freedoms. We must allow our people to continue the blessings of their freedom of speech and of expression. In fact, according to Article 19 of the UN Declaration of Human Rights, the freedom of opinion and freedom of expression is actually included in this. We have the freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. Now, given the overwhelming economic, social, political, social, and legal benefits of allowing TikTok to operate with regulation, we believe that banning it in all devices in the Philippines poses greater ramification and disadvantages. Thus, we in the negative side believe that banning TikTok in all devices in the Philippines is not and will never be beneficial to our country and our people.
Mr. Bernard, you have 2 minutes to cross-examine.
Yeah. First question. Actually, I'm an engineer, but I don't. No, let me put it that way. You're a law student. Do you like laws? Do you think laws are good?
Laws are actually created in order to promote them.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Or no? Yeah. Do you like standards? Standards put things in order, put things under our control. Are standards good or bad?
Standards
No
would
or
change.
yes?
Standards would change.
Now let me proceed with the actual question. Do you know that there is such thing as cybersecurity standard?
Yes.
And do you not know that TikTok is not following that standard? Which is why it has to be banned, because they are not following standards and therefore they are violating a lot of protocols in the safety.
Every social media platform would have their own guidelines and
No,
community
but
guidelines.
not the
for that
rest.
matter.
Only TikTok. They are not following that standard.
Do you have basis?
That's all. There is a PNP advisory actually.
Thank you so much to both our speakers on the beneficiality. So, moving forward,
Check, testing 1, 2, 3, check.
so to argue on the affirmative side for the practicability, maybe call on Mr. Al Vincent Lariza.
If your neighbor makes an attempt of your life, your freedom, and your priorities, then you should destroy him and crush him, because the supreme law of self-preservation must prevail. El verdadero decalogo Apolinario Mabini. To answer the questions of our dear educators, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, brothers and sisters, Attorney Ras. We are in a crossroads of deciding whether we have to ban TikTok or otherwise. We are in the proposition in practicability to ban TikTok absolutely. To answer the questions of the adjudicators, first, we should not wait and sit idly while we wait for the actual case to happen, because it might be too late. The design and the dangerous, unique design of TikTok system is the threat itself. The compelling state interest should be invoked, no less than the Supreme Court stated that if the state were compelled to wait until the apprehended danger becomes certain, then its right to protect itself would come into existence or being simultaneously with the overthrow of the government, where there is no court or prosecuting officers to enforce the law. Again, the second question is, and this threat should be vanquished before they came knocking at our doors. Because when the time comes, we already have the solid proof, it will be too late. Your Honors, we should be proactive in our policy making. We should not sit idly and wait for something to happen. Second, sort of rebuttal, TikTok is patronized precisely because it is the leading application today. This businessman capitalized on TikTok's fame. Then, if it will be removed and due to compelling reasons, it will not be far-fetched that another application in existence will replace its dominance. Then, this online businessman will go to this platform. They have the liberty of abode. Our objective is to maintain integrity and sovereignty, not ceding any of it, even in cyberspace. This measure is just a step to self-preservation. The real challenge in the proposition on the absolute ban is not whether it can be implemented by our existing facilities and pool of law enforcement. It is on whether it is particularly in line with our current legal framework. Much has been said for the possible encroachment of constitutional rights, especially the rights against unreasonable search and seizure, right of privacy, and the freedom of speech of the press and of expression. Ladies and gentlemen, our proposition is in accordance with our fundamental law, statutes, and favored by our jurisprudence. Let me discuss the regulatory side. Thanks to the anti-cybercrime law, the PNP and the NBI already have the Cybercrimes Division Unit. In coordination with the relevant agencies, including the DICT, Bureau of Philippine Standards, and Bureau of Customs, we are equipped to implement this ban. The DICT, APC, and the Internet Service Providers will work hand in hand. Our ISPs have been participative when it comes to blocking sites involving piracy of intellectual properties. They will be more proactive now that an enabling law is enacted, which will be our proposition. Almost all devices in the Philippines are manufactured abroad. They will be required to get a BPS registration and acquire a PS license. The BPS will be tasked to conduct an on-site audit of this applicant manufacturer to ensure that they comply with our legal laws. Ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to say is that the law is already in place, ready to implement our proposition. Now, we will try to shatter the proposed regulation, which is a piecemeal regulation, which we will have to separate the wheat from the chaff. This is not efficient and this is costly. Ladies and gentlemen, these are routine processes of government. Absolute banning will not entail huge expenditure when it comes to implementation by our regulatory agencies. It will be less intrusive for users of the devices. The bulk of the government's interference are in the processes before the device is even received at the palm of our hands. It is doable, it is practicable. Absolute ban is more effective form of regulation because compared to per activity basis regulation, imposing on this, imposing on that. In our view, absolute ban finds support in our jurisprudence. In the case of Macaria King versus Hernaez, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the absolute prohibition of alien employment in the retail industry. The court rationalized its decision in this wise. It does not require ingenuity to realize that the law is framed up the way we find it so that no difficulties will be encountered in its enforcement. This is not the first time to use the words of the United States that the government wants to know without being put to a search that what it forbids is carried out effectively. It is well to note that the Supreme Court recognized The fact that not prohibiting aliens entirely and limiting it to management, control operations, as the petitioners in this case has proposed, will encounter difficulties in such regulation. In the same manner, absolute ban rather than regulation by piecemeal, distinguishing what acts are valid or otherwise, will avoid undue cost and efforts on the part of the government. The method proposed by the opposing bench will entail huge outflow from the people's coffer, as we will need more personnel who will be charged in monitoring activities in the cyberspace. Not to mention is the huge need for additional infrastructure and machinery to see to it that such proposition is complied with. Now, it is granting without conceding that the absolute ban intrudes into our treasured rights, dare we say, that is quite ironic, and as we have sufficiently proved the risk. Yet for some people in favor of the continual operation of TikTok, it seems they are more comfortable for other entities to watch their activities in the cyberspace. Yet it is overwhelmingly contemptuous for our own government to, out of genuine care, should look at what we do and ensure that our data is not compromised and that our national interest is preserved. Ironic it is. Ladies and gentlemen, while it is true that it is the government's task to step up to the plate, we have to face the reality that we have yet to catch up to the complexity of the cyberspace. Most especially, that is proved by my able colleague in this bench, this is a matter of national security. The ban will plug loopholes that may be found in targeted regulation. Circumvention is likewise minimized, if not eliminated. The clock is ticking, and we should act now. We should not second guess when it comes to matters of national security. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not against freedom of expression, freedom of the press, because we in the affirmative bench hold the letters of the law and specifically the Constitution sacrosanct. We citizens or netizens, as cyberspace calls for, are not deprived of our right to speak freely what we have thought freely. We can express our passions, feelings and aspirations. We can flaunt whatever we want for the world to see. We can still conduct businesses online. We may still do whatever our minds can conceive, especially in social media, of which we still have a plenty. We have Facebook, we have X, we have Instagram and other choices at the palm of our hands. Your Honors, the opposing bench said that there is a risk of economic loss. Again and again, we would like to say that it is unfortunate, but we have to take these rights in the backseat for the purpose of securing our national interest. We could remember that the case of eBay Corporation, it was the same argument. Loss of job, freedom of speech. But what happened to eBay? They were lost because it is the will of the Congress that supersedes in the exercise of their police power. Allow me to illustrate further in a way that each of us may understand. Consider this ban like a prohibition against the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the Garden of Eden. Do not eat of it, or else you will die. There are many alternatives provided for you, and only one is forbidden. Give this one to the government. Enjoy the rest. Be that as it may, my able colleagues in this bench have shown you the presence of compelling state interest that calls for the immediate ban of TikTok. We surmounted the heavy burden. The absolute ban is justified. My dear friends, I hope I will not be the first one to tell you this, but at this very moment we are at war. No, at this moment, war is knocking at our doorstep. The more they learn about us, the more they learn our ways. The more intelligence they gather from us, the bolder they will be in their aggression. They are the descendants of Sun Tzu, the author of The Art of War, who knew that in order to win a war, one must know himself and know his enemy better. Ladies and gentlemen, a warfare is based on intelligence, not by weapons. Accordingly, now as I come near to the end of my speech, I would like to remind everyone of the words of the Supreme Court, speaking through Justice Abad in ruling the constitutionality of cybercrime law. And this is what everyone fears. All penal laws, like the cybercrime law, have of course an inherent chilling effect. Of course, it will affect our right. And intolerant effects or the fear of possible prosecution that hangs on the heads of citizens who are minded to step beyond the boundaries of what is proper. But to prevent the state from legislating criminal laws because we instill such kind of fear is to render the state powerless in addressing and penalizing socially harmful conduct. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the threat to national security is a socially harmful conduct, not only to the country, but to everyone as well. We should act now, or else tomorrow we will harvest the bitter fruits of our inaction. We should not wait for the actual case to happen. It will be too late. On that note, my dear friends, adjudicators, equally brilliant audiences, worthy members of the opposing bench.
Speaker,
Yes.
I have a question. So you have mentioned earlier that there is a need for immediate ban of the TikTok.
Yes.
So do you think that it will be timely if we will ban it now in relation to West Philippine Sea dispute?
That is exactly our proposition, Mr. Adjudicator, because what we want is the immediate ban. And we cannot second guess. We cannot study more, impose regulations, study this, study that. Yet the threat is there, knocking at our doorstep. We should not wait idly again and again. Ladies and gentlemen, the affirmative side rests its case. I am now ready for interpellation.
Mr. Speaker, can I ask you one single question? Now, perhaps one of the, if not the most, one of the very compelling arguments favoring the ban is that the flow of information or algorithm is under the exclusive control of TikTok, a Chinese company.
Yes.
And the algorithm tends to influence, if not altogether modify or alter or whatever, the perception of the Filipino people against a particular issue, like the West Philippine Sea, against a particular official, like our own president. What can you say about that?
Well, as we have said, Your Honor, the interference of the Chinese government and its stake in the TikTok is clear and linked, and we have established the link. So it is not far-fetched that the government of the Chinese government will alter or will influence us to be on their side. I hope I'm answering your question, sir. Yeah, it is because, again, once you have control, you can do everything you want. And in this case, we have established that the Chinese government has the control on ByteDance, which owns TikTok. And by the way, the citizenship of those composing the officers of such corporation does not mean that it is the citizenship of those who own it. Thank you.
Mr. Morales, you have 2 minutes to cross-examine.
Hello, my test. Yes, thank you, esteemed speaker. I just would like to point out that regarding the security concerns, are there any concrete or verified instances where TikTok is being used to harm our national security?
Again and again, it is a system that we are trying to prevent. The system design is there and it's ready to be used against us. We should not wait idly for anything to happen. It might be too late, my dear friend.
And how does this affect other social media platforms?
Well, this is the substantial distinction. We have the Chinese government interfering with TikTok, and the others are not. If they follow suit, then there's no reason that we should not ban them.
And if we ban TikTok, will the issue of West Philippine Sea go away?
Your Honor, I think it's a bit of a discord. We are banning TikTok because it is controlled by the Chinese government. And the Chinese government is hostile to us. And if you need proof, you can watch the news that they are seizing our vessels, to the resupply vessels to our BRB Sierra Madre.
Okay. Would you agree that individuals should have the freedom to choose whether
Agree,
or not
totally agree,
to
totally
use?
agree.
Okay. And you mentioned a while ago that I would like to be enlightened. How come our freedom of abode is affected by using TikTok? Freedom of abode. You mentioned a while ago that freedom
My
of
dear
abode.
friend, you should not focus on the OB10. I'm glad that you take that. That is just a segue talk, and you should not belabor on that.
Okay. And you mentioned that government, by banning TikTok, we will just prioritize Facebook and Instagram and other else.
Priority has never been mentioned on my speech, my dear friend.
Yes, but isn't it that we are curtailing the opportunity to choose for us?
To argue the negative side, may we call on Mr. Raymond Morales, sir.
Good afternoon. Today we gather to deliberate on a topic that sits on the intersection of technology, freedom, and societal well-being. Whether or not TikTok should be banned in all devices in our beloved country. As a proponent of free expression and digital innovation, I stand firmly against the banning of TikTok. This issue is not only a mere question of policy, but one that touches upon our values, our privacy, and the future of our digital landscape. As we embark on this debate, let us strive for a discourse that is both insightful and respectful, illuminating the diverse perspectives that this important issue encompasses. Being a father these days is very challenging, not just because of the rising school and living expenses, but also due to the overwhelming amount of information that needs to be filtered. Nowadays, most children rely more on the internet content than on devices, as parents. When I was growing up, I associated intelligence with those who knew many facts and had the capacity to memorize information. With the emergence of the internet and of course the AI, the competition has shifted from being from among peers to being between humans and AI. In conclusion, the ability to comprehend additional facts no longer provides a competitive advantage due to the abundance of readily available information at our fingertips. To thrive in this generation and the next, we must focus on creativity and creativity to complement and surpass the fast computing abilities of AI. As Maria Ressa of Rappler would say it, social media has now become a behavior modification system previously known as brainwashing. People can lose their ability to decide without even realizing it. A newspaper columnist way back in 2022 also mentioned that with so many digital distractions, the ability to focus is just 10 seconds. Moreover, with really an ultimate ground why TikTok should be banned is that it poses a threat to national security. According to New York Times columnist Ezra Klein, TikTok is a threat to national security.
Good afternoon, Council. You
Good
mentioned
afternoon,
about
Your Honor.
creativity of children. I can mention you also have a child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Quick question. Does your children use TikTok?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. How does TikTok encourages creativity to your children?
TikTok is really, though I don't use TikTok, Your Honor. TikTok is, from my research, is that it creates short videos. The main difference that I noticed between Facebook and TikTok is that it has creativity because it focuses on short videos. It allows users to create shorter and quick videos, and enhances. It has a unique niche as compared to Facebook.
Yes, it has a negative effect in the way of creativity. Sorry, in my work, screen time actually is one of the reasons why there are a lot of cases of ADHD, okay, and ASD.
I agree.
All right. So your children are using TikTok,
Yes, Your Honor.
correct? And aside from the things that you've mentioned, can you also provide me other things that would tell me that that TikTok encourages creativity to your children?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, it's the niche of TikTok is really the ease of being able to upload content through short videos, which is not so accessible through Facebook. That's why the Facebook audience is associated with older people. But TikTok allows that by, I think, emerges because it allowed people to share short videos as quick as possible, in a way that they have this the trend that really appreciate was the lip sync of the dubbing side, which encourages a lot of younger people to express themselves better.
Okay. I wanted to know, where did you get this research that TikTok encourages creativity?
Yes, Your Honor. I think if I would be allowed to present to you this, I have some footnotes here, but it is coming from actually from the congressional hearing that I watched. That it's the main mission of TikTok is to enhance creativity and share joy. If you check on the mission statement of the company TikTok, the mission is really to promote creativity and share joy.
Thank you. I have a question. So you
Yes,
mentioned
Your
about
Honor.
AI. So as we all know, AI is a very powerful technology. No?
Yes, Your
and knowing that the Chinese government owns TikTok and 49 million Filipino people use it, there's so much data that can be used to feed into an AI and generate patterns or notice trends and basically understand the psyche of the Filipino people. So how do you not see that as a potential threat?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, it's the threat that I wanted to eliminate is that it's a threat to national security, because it's a common misconception that there is a manipulation on the side of TikTok. They're manipulating information, but actually it is called a machine learning system. It's very unique to TikTok, unlike Facebook. If I have time, no? TikTok learns from the way our strokes, how long we want to, how long are we staying on a particular video, if we like it, if we comment it. On the other hand, Facebook is different, because Facebook feeds you with information just like who are your friends are. And the interest of your friends, this is the interest that they will feed you. So they have a different algorithm, actually. But somehow, this is what I thought that, of course, if you are a newcomer, you should be doing a different niche to be able to catch up. Because TikTok only started in 2016, and Facebook only started way ahead in 2004. Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, to continue, according to New York Times columnist Ezra Klein, TikTok is a threat to national security because of data espionage problem. He added that TikTok collects data from users that could be valuable to foreign governments and that China could weaponize the platform. While I acknowledge, the mishaps and penalties TikTok has incurred in various countries, none of those prove that TikTok is a threat to national security. Banning TikTok would set a dangerous precedent for the curtailment of freedom of expression and digital innovation.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Your Honor.
You mentioned a while ago that TikTok is not a threat of national security.
Yes, Your Honor.
did you know that based on my study and based on our data collected, no, the URL or account gathered by the administrator of the application, the TikTok, can collate informations of the users, and that it may be vulnerable, no, for every user to mind conditioning for those users, and it may be propagated for propaganda. And of course, if you are happen to be an iPhone user, there is a question there that in order to install that application, you have to agree with that TikTok application, and it's very vulnerable that you will be traced with others. You will be traced by those administrators, especially those professional hackers. So, given these vulnerabilities of these studies, how can you be your proposition that totally banning that TikTok be visible on that be visible?
Yes, thank you for the question, Your Honor. As I mentioned, Your Honor, I did. You mean I am not, against or something like. I did not deny that there are mishaps that TikTok is incurring. In fact, I could cite some countries which penalizes TikTok. But nonetheless, I think from the congressional hearing and also from my research, it seems that TikTok has been addressing these concerns already. In fact, they have implemented something in order for countries to lift their bans. Content moderation, the community guidelines is constantly updated, age restrictions and parental controls, privacy settings has been improved, transparency reports accessible by third party, and partnership and collaborations with different groups, algorithm adjustments, and educational initiatives. By this, Your Honor, since TikTok is really a new company as compared to Facebook, and I think these issues are never, they are not even also new to TikTok alone. And these issues are also prevalent when Facebook was starting. I hope that answers your question, Your Honor.
Mr. Speaker, I have a practical question for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Suppose that the Chinese militia vessels would fire at our soldiers in BRP Sierra Madre, which according to the President would be construed as an act of war. If that happens, a single military incident, no? Direct armed confrontation, would you recommend, as a congressman, would you vote for the banning of TikTok if that happens? Why or why not?
Actually, it's my perspective, Your Honor, even with the current tensions that we have with China, I treat them, it's a political issue rather. But I have a different perspective on separating economic and political issues. As we understand that China, we can never deny that China is a superpower in our region. Thus, I see our economic agenda should still continue. And in somehow, if our economic agenda continues, probably if there's a big investor from China who will be investing in the Philippines, and he has a voice in the Communist Party of the Philippines, he might be able to convince that they not to engage with us. That's why, in parallel or in contrast to the political issues that we are encountering, I am urging the government to continue economic relations with China.
The problem, Mr. Speaker, is that the West Philippine Sea is not only a territorial dispute, it also involves food security, as the West Philippine Sea is the #1 source of protein for Chinese people. It's also a question. It's also a transportation or maritime transport issue, and it's even an issue of economic resources. Like
oil and natural gas. So,
Yes, Your Honor.
how do you draw the line?
Yes, Your Honor. That is a very valid argument, Your Honor. But in my own sense, Your Honor, I still value peace over war in that sense. Because living in peace, especially for those who are in the service or encountering, the battles of war, I think we will have to choose peace resolution instead of, despite all these threats, because as of this moment, we are still here enjoying the peace despite all these tensions. We don't want to be. It's called a bridge of no return if we engage in that. Thank you. So if I may continue, while I acknowledge the fines and penalties TikTok has incurred in various countries, none of this prove that TikTok is a threat to national security. Banning TikTok would set a dangerous precedent for the curtailment of freedom of expression and digital innovation. The very principles of our heroes died to protect that we are now enjoying. Despite the national security and privacy concerns, TikTok has prioritized transparency, data localization. Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, so you mentioned about there is no specific examples of why TikTok is a threat to national security.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
I would like to ask you, are you aware of the precautionary principle, and do you think that it should be applied in this case?
Yes, Your Honor. I am aware of the precautionary principle, fortunately, but I also am aware of the balancing interest in terms of deciding whether there's an encroachment in our freedom of expression. Should I continue? Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Localization, data localization, independent audits, partnerships with cybersecurity firms, and control features and legal compliance. These measures underscore its dedication to data privacy and security. Additionally, no evidence suggests that Chinese government has manipulated the app or required data from TikTok. While early challenges were common for any global startup, TikTok's unprecedented rise in the social media landscape, surpassing many predecessors in the growth and user engagement, is particularly noteworthy. TikTok, a globally popular social media platform, has a diverse investor composition that counters concerns about national security threats. While its present company, ByteDance, originated in China, TikTok is roughly 60% owned by global institutions, investors, 20% owned by the company's founders, and 20% owned by its employees, including its 7,000 US-based employees. Additionally, TikTok's operational headquarters are based in the United States, where it abides by stringent US regulations and data privacy standards. The international ownership structure and the US-based management of TikTok highlight its commitment to transparency and security, mitigating the perceived risk associated with Chinese origins. It is a common misconception that increasing number of countries are outright banning TikTok. However, the reality is that of these nations have implemented regulatory measures rather than full bans. Moreover, several countries have lifted the initial bans after TikTok complied with the necessary regulatory standards. For instance, India lifted its ban in February 2021, following assurances from TikTok regarding compliance with local regulations and addressing security issues. Pakistan also lifted temporary ban in October 2020 after TikTok took steps to moderate content according to local standards. Additionally, while there were discussions about banning TikTok in the United States over national security concerns, the ban never materialized. Instead, negotiations with potential buyers and TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, took place to address data privacy and security issues. According to the interview of TikTok CEO, Sojin Chu, the mission of TikTok is to inspire creativity and bring joy. The platform aims to provide a space where users can express themselves creatively through short-form videos and engage the content that entertains and uplifts them. By fostering a community of creators and viewers, TikTok strives to empower individuals to unleash their creativity, share their unique perspective, and connect with others around the world. The platform's mission is centered on promoting creativity, positivity, and inclusivity, creating a global community where people can discover, create, and share content that brings joy to themselves and others. TikTok has emerged a powerful platform for Filipinos. Their talents and skills offering a multitude of advantages in contributing to their livelihoods. With its vast reach and diverse audience, TikTok provides an avenue for individuals to gain recognition and build a dedicated following, potentially leading to lucrative opportunities such as brand partnerships, sponsored content, and even monetization through Creator Fund. Take, for example, the case of a talented singer from a rural area who gained viral fame on TikTok for their performances. Through the platform, they attracted the attention of music producers and event organizers, ultimately securing paid gigs and recording contracts. Similarly, skilled artisans, comedians, and dancers have leveraged TikTok to turn their passion into profitable careers, tapping into the global audience and generating income through collaborations and merchandise. In the essence, TikTok serves as a democratizing force, empowering ordinary Filipinos to monetize their creativity and talent, thereby enhancing their socio-economic status and improving their quality of life. If TikTok were banned in the Philippines today, several negative effects potentially arise, like loss of income for creators, reduced access to global trends and culture, impact on business and brands, loss of job opportunities, government censorship concerns. Enforcing a ban on TikTok in the Philippines could yield extensive repercussions affecting individuals, enterprise, and broader digital landscape of nation. Although one might argue for some benefits of prohibiting TikTok, the overreaching concerns is that it may lead to scenario akin to North Korea, where cultural preservation is prioritized but at the expense of isolation from global community, which is perceived as negative. The 1987 Constitution explicitly in its protection for freedom of expression, Article 3, Section 4, iterates that no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, of press, or the right of people peaceably assemble in the petition the government for redress of grievances. This provision underlines the importance of free speech as a cornerstone for democracy. The Constitution protects individuals' rights to express their opinions, disseminate information, and engage in public discourse. Our Supreme Court has consistently upheld the primacy of freedom of expression. In the landmark case of Chavez versus Gonzalez, the court emphasized that freedom of expression is a preferred right and that any restriction must be narrowly tailored, severe, serve a compelling state interest. And the ruling articulates that any attempt to restrict expression carries a heavy presumption of invalidity, and the government bears a substantial burden of justification. The concept of restraint, a preemptive measure to prevent speech before it occurs, is particularly relevant In the Near versus Minnesota, a U.S. Supreme Court case often cited in our jurisprudence, the court held that prior restraint on publication is generally unconstitutional. Applying this to TikTok, a preemptive ban can be considered a prior form of restraint, which our Supreme Court has constantly viewed with suspicion. In the banning of TikTok, the Philippines can be equated to attack on freedom of expression enshrined in the 1987 Constitution. While national security and data privacy are valid concerns, any restriction on speech must be narrowly tailored to serve compelling state interest and must be least restrictive means available. A blanket ban on TikTok fails to meet these stringent requirements and poses a threat to vibrant democratic disclosure that is essential for our healthy society. In closing, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed adjudicators, professors, classmates, and honored guests. Your presence and attention today as I reflect on my journey as a father and a student, I am reminded of the profound impact we have on those around us, especially our children. Witnessing my son's aspiration to also pursue law, despite the setbacks, fills me with pride and reinforces the importance of initiating values, perseverance, integrity, and to the next generation. In navigating complexities parenthood with academia, it becomes evident that our roles extend beyond providing material support. We are tasked with guiding our children towards understanding from right from wrong, preparing them for the challenges of the real world. As we embrace technological advancements, it is crucial to focus on the positive impact they can have on fostering creativity and innovation. Platforms like TikTok, with its mission to inspire creativity and bring joy, exemplify the potential harnessing technology for the greater good. Let us not allow our laws to stifle our innate drive to express ourselves creatively, but rather let us strive to preserve and nurture the spirit of creativity for generations to come. Thank you.
Mr. Lariza, you have 2 minutes to cross-examine Mr. Morales.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Can you enlighten me? What are your aspect about practicability?
Profitability.
Practicability.
Practicability, yes.
Isn't that aspect about clamor, compatibility with the current laws, cost?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Were you arguing for non-beneficiality?
What was your question, Mayor?
I'll leave it at that. Now, comparing state interest, would you agree with me that the right to life is superior right over property, just like income, or even your preferred rights of freedom of speech?
Yes, I agree, Your Honor. But I think the right of life
Yes
is
or
not
no?
threatened.
Yes or no, Mr. Speaker? Now, you said that the other states have already lifted their bans, but would you admit that in the first place, they have the ban? They banned the platform. Yes or no, Mr.
Yes,
Speaker?
Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Please. Would you say that they were banned in the first place, and later on they overturned that because they have already catch up to the security measures that TikTok required?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
So the ban then is necessary in the first place.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Now, you said that once we ban TikTok, it's just like we're imitating North Korea, being a state of isolation. When we ban aliens in the retail industry, did we become North Korea?
I think the analogy is not similar, Mr. Speaker.
That's your opinion. Now, once TikTok is removed, will you still be able to post in any platform? Please, ladies, please. The answer is yes.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
And there's no curtailment
Thank
of
you.
freedom of speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the very wonderful and informative debate. To our speakers, you are all the winners of this debate. Thank you. To our speakers on the affirmative and negative side, you all did a great job. And for our adjudicators, we know that you all have a very tough job right now, and as it is very, it's not easy to judge this very crucial event. To our speakers, you may now cross the house. Let's give a big round of applause to our speakers. And also our heartfelt gratitude to all our adjudicators. We can never thank you enough, monsters. Big round of applause, please.
Now it is time to tabulate the result, and while waiting, let us all hear from one of our very own classmates, Mr. Isaiah Opena, to serenade us with his powerful voice. A big hand, please.
Summer days come gone away. I was in Rome, I wanna go home. No. Maybe surrounded by a million people, I still feel all alone. I wanna go home. I miss you know. Then I've been keeping all the letters that I wrote to you. Each one a line or two. I'm fine, baby, how are you? Well, I would say that I know that it's just not enough. Those words were cold and flat, and you deserve more than that. Another aeroplane, another sunny place. I'm lucky I know I wanna go home. Got to go home. Let me go home. I'm just so far from where you are. I gotta go home. Someone else's life. It's like I just stepped outside when everything is going right. And I know just why you could not come along with me. This was not your dream, but you always believed in me. Another winter day has come and gone away, and Paris is wrong. I wanna go home. Let me go home. Baby, surrounded by a million people, I still feel all alone. Let me go home. It's you, you know. Let me go home.
Wow, that was indeed very entertaining and soulful. Thank you so much, Mr. Openia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Openia. Now for the giving of tokens and certificate to our adjudicators, may we call on our dedicated law professor, Attorney Russell S. Bernitas, together with Dean Peter Canyamo, to be assisted by Mr. Paulo Angelo Ramirez and Ms. Jonna Maria Marquez. Just read the citation. University of Southern Philippines Foundation, School of Law, Certificate of Appreciation is hereby awarded to Attorney Neil Aaron C. Balili, Managing Partner, EVP Law Offices, for reporting his expertise and valuable insights as one of the adjudicators during the Lantugi Constitutional Law 2 class debates year 4, held at University of Southern Philippines Foundation on June 8, 2024. Given this 8th day of June 2024 at University of Southern Philippines Foundation, Theater, 4th floor, Agustin Hireza Hall, signed Attorney Russell S. Benitez, Professor, Constitutional Law 2, and signed Attorney Peter Canyamo, Dean, School of Law. Same certificate of appreciation is awarded to Engineer Paul Rewano. Same certificate of appreciation is here awarded to Ms. Charity Mundoy Bacolod. Same will be given to Major Well Kenneth S. Bagay. The same certificate of appreciation will be awarded to Police Lieutenant Colonel Ephraim G. Paguyo. Our heartfelt gratitude to all our adjudicators. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Like Attorney Russell S. Benitez to please stay on stage. Again, in behalf of the all of the students from the constitutional law to section A and B. Thank you so much, Attorney Russell S. Prinitas, for giving us the opportunity to be heard. And for the success of this event, again, dagang salamat from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much for us. Pagkat hinaot ni daw ni Hapukot, Attorney Russ. Dagang salamat, Attorney Russell S. Prinitas, for the opportunity and for letting us pass the subject.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Attorney.
so much.
While still waiting for the results, let's have another intervention number by our very own Mr. General Villanyev. Round of applause, please.
May minus one si Sir General, yes or no? O na, kanina, okay, perfect.
Law students here in USPF.
I-block ang projector. Dito na si Juan, datong anak ba?
Ladies and gentlemen, the results are finally here. It's for us to award our best speaker.
Alright, so sorry for the misinformation, but while waiting, can we ask our adjudicators for some comments on the earlier done Lantugi 2024? Can we start with
Engineer Paul Bray, Owano. Sir?
Engineer Wano, sir?
Just want to commend everyone who really prepared for their speech. Yeah, so congrats everyone.
Thank you, Engineer Wano, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity that I'm here. So I know it's not easy, especially for the speakers. I mean, psychologically, the anxiety, the panic attacks, and all of that. But you did your best. Congratulations again, and thank you.
I couldn't agree more. Let's hear from Attorney Balini, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. The thing with lawyering is that you have to be comfortable with making enemies left, right, and center. So, but it's still up to you how you would define enemy. Enemy to me doesn't have to be that you are in physical combat, but lawyering, as it is, it's about your intellectual proposition for or against a particular issue. And today's exposition of ideas makes me prouder to be teaching here. And actually, overstaying ako sa Lantugi. I told Russell when he invited me to sit as a judge again, I told him that maybe it's about time that I would excuse myself. But Russell was persistent and I could not say no to him for obvious reasons. So I am still here. So I will give my honest comments. I will give my honest comments. The affirmative side did not start well.
we were waiting for a clear discussion about the legitimate and compelling state interest. I was hoping and expecting that you would marshal the arguments for the affirmative side in the manner that we ask the questions, that it is a serious national they were banking on the argument that the negative side were banking on the argument that this is just pure entertainment purposes and people are growing income from it. But on the affirmative side, we were expecting that you would marshal the arguments that it's not simple as it is, that selling goods and services, this is a matter of national security. And you did not even define what national security is. What constitutes national security? National security is I am seated with the city director of PFP Talisay City and a colonel of a major of the Philippine Air Force. So nagstorya we were expecting you to define what are matters of national security. So perhaps the first major flaw sa case. But the negative side responded to the first speaker with the argument of social justice, which to us was also a big blunder. It was never compelling. The argument of social justice was never compelling to us. Because, as what President Magsaysay said, social justice means those who have less in life, more in law. And I see no parallelism when it comes to a law prohibiting TikTok and granting access to people for TikTok. For the second speaker of the affirmative side, first few sentences of the speech pala, I already got your point about the Trojan horse analogy. But you gave it so much time that it consumed the substantive speech that your good points only came up when you were already interpolating your opposing counsel, right? I told Charity here that those line of questioning Nemo sa interpolation should have been devoted for your substantive speech. Okay? Now, for the second speaker of the negative side, you were gutsy and medyo kanang sleek. So we really appreciated your presentation of arguments. I think that is really the ideal demeanor of a litigator in court. Because cases are won not just by the way you marshal your thoughts and arguments, organization of thoughts, but also how you deliver it clearly as possible as you could, right? Now, for the third speaker of the affirmative side, you were the hero now as Senator Maghay was during his time. He really saved the ship, no? Saying, sa inyong time, you did. That's why I'm not sure who won. Because what I know is we will be voting by ranking, by vote if it's negative or affirmative. For the last speaker of the negative side, you addressed the questions as ably as you could, and we appreciate that. Perhaps you were confronted by the third speaker of the affirmative side and how you couch your arguments. Perhaps next time you could do a little more research as to how much would the economy lose if you're going to ban TikTok in Philippines. We never received any approximation as to figures so far as that argument is concerned, because the team really hammered on the economic repercussions, no, if TikTok would be banned in the Philippines. But if you would want to know my vote, I voted for the affirmative side.
Thank you so much, Attorney Balini, for that very detailed comment. Let's hear from Major Baday, sir.
First of all, I would like to thank for this very wonderful privilege to sit as one of your adjudicator. And of course, I really conform with all the comments and observation of our chairman of the board. And of course, I would like to really commend your Professor Ras, and the rest of the both sections that you really improve well as times go by, especially this Lantugi debate. Like we have discussed earlier with Attorney Balili that for the venue, we have started in moot court, in the function hall, and here we are. And we are really astounded with full presentation of this debate. And kudos to the rest of the class.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to take this opportunity to extend my utmost gratitude to Attorney Ras for inviting me here, to become one of the adjudicator. And I commend all the speakers here for a job well done. Thank you, and maayong hapon sa dami.
Last but not least, may we hear a message from our Professor Attorney Russell S. Bernice. Surprise!
Surprise na pala. Okay. Banking on Attorney Neil's katong comment earlier, stay here lang ha. It's really crucial on the part of the affirmative to really lay down the premise. I would like to clarify lang that this is not an anti-China debate ha. Okay. First, I would like to thank Dean Peter for the support, for all our support for this activity. To our adjudicators, to Miss Charity, to Attorney Neil, to the best speakers from Lantugi, Year 1, Sir Paul, Year 2, Sir Ruel, and Year 3, si Sir Ibrahim. If you see, I really wanted to focus that Lantugi is student-centered. This is really for you. This is the best opportunity to showcase what you have learned throughout the semester. And if you see, I gave the best speakers the opportunity also to be part of the adjudicators, to show to you that we give we also acknowledge that even if you are still students of law, we give you the same treatment because I know that you are also accomplished in your respective fields. And thank you. Again, I'll be repeating this all the time. Thank you for showing that the University of Southern Philippines law students can. Mga tayo nag-iwat, no? I haven't finished checking on your exam booklets. In fact, some are in the table. I'll be finishing that. I'll be making the announcement. But rest assured, you get the full 30%, as promised. Full 30% of your total overall scores or grade. And then, as promised also, the winning team, although we don't know yet, or they don't know, the adjudicators don't know because the tabulators made the averaging. The winning team will get plus 10, in your final exam scores. And the other team will get 5 additional points. So I believe that will help you in your scores and in attaining the 20% rate for your final exam. So hopefully when I compute, hopefully and I pray that all of you will pass. But nevertheless, if some will not reach the mark, I will be making an announcement because I will be giving an exam of last chance. Okay? Sige. That's it. Good luck. I think they're ready to announce the winners. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Attorney, for the chance.
Attorney, may we ask you to stay on stage for the awarding?
Now to give the award to our best speaker, best interpolator, and our winning section. May we call on our very own Constitutional Law 2 Professor, Attorney Russell S. Pernides, together with Attorney Neil Aaron C. Badeli, and with Dean Peter Kanyamo. A round of applause, please.
Who will be this year's winner? From section B or section A?
A, B.
Appeal ko ng Simpro 3D. Appeal ang Simpro ko na ay plus points.
Basin di ay din.
Basin pa di ay.
Mada pa di ay.
Alright, so we have here the result. Let's start first with the winning team. Our winning team for best speaker rather. For our best speaker for this year's Lantugi 2024. Drum roll, please. Our best speaker for this year's Lantugi 2024 may call on Mr. Almay Vincent P. Larissa. A big round of applause, please.
Okay na. Nakuha na. Kasi nag-off na ka ng PowerPoint. Pati mo picture. Sige na lang. Di naman kapakakuhan. I-edit lang yan na nato sila.
Congratulations, Sir Al. Now for the next award, our best interpolator. Who will be this year's best interpolator? Any bets from section A?
From section B.
From section B.
I get it!
Our best interpolator for this year's Lantugi 2024 is no other than Mr. Almay Vincent P. Larissa. Big round of applause, please.
Award ba na?
Congratulations, Sir Alhakot Award. Now, for the winning team.
The most awaited part, who will garner the 10 points.
Can we hear?
Final exam.
Can we hear a cheer from A? Can I hear a cheer from Section B? Our winning section. Congratulations to Constitutional Law 2, Section B.
Congratulations, Section B.
Plus 10.
Then let's give our speakers a round of applause, please, to all our winners.
For the closing remarks, may we call on Mr. Paulo Angelo Ramirez. A round of applause, please.
Hello. To our beloved Dean, Attorney Peter Canyamo, to our guest adjudicators, to our professors, Attorney Russell Pernitas, dear classmates, good afternoon. We are gathered today to witness Lantugi Year 4, a tradition in constitutional law class of Attorney Russell Pernitas, a battle of wit through words and steadfast conviction that resonates to our own respective stand as individuals. We have witnessed our future lawyers advocating for their respective team, taking a strong stand on what their team is assigned to, and exploring all legal sides and contentions just to convince the adjudicators and us that they should win the debate. But more than anything, this activity is a testament of hard work and preparation for the life ahead of us that we are trying to pursue, becoming advocates for our causes and justice in our country. At this point, I would like to congratulate all the winners of Lantugi Year 4. I would like to thank Attorney Pernitas, our classmates, for entrusting us this daunting task, yet very fulfilling. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank everyone in all the committees for your efforts and hard works. May we all carry our respective causes in and out of campus, to always know what is right and fight for what we believe in. May we be champion of justice, fairness, and equity in our families and communities. And above all, may we all bear in our minds and in our hearts that as future lawyers, we are here to serve the people with a heart. Again, congratulations everyone, and thank you for your participation.
Thank you also, Sir Paulo, for leading us.
The closing of this event is not a relief of responsibility, but like frames in a cinematic masterpiece, it will continue to remind us of how we stand and experience firsthand ang pakiglantugi. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your hosts for this year's Lantugi 2024. I am Joffrey.
I am Shaina.
Once again, daghang salamat. Maayong hapon sa tanan.
Can we have the photo op?
Photo up for this year's Lantugi. Can we request our adjudicators for the photo opportunity?
Can we have the photo up for the winner, section B, with the best speaker and the best interpolator, Mr. Al? May I request the adjudicators for the photo opportunity together with the winning team and with everyone.
Thank you po sa video ka. Ha? Video ka. Pero not the entire screen.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Alright, so I'm requesting Ma'am Jonah, you may have some instructions for our dinner tonight. Ma'am Jonah Ortiz. Or we will have a photo op per class, section A, section B. Together with the adjudicators. Okay, so we'll have first the section B. Okay, sila ang order ni Saka. Together with the adjudicators.